The morning sun filtered through the fractured skylight of the abandoned spaceport, dust motes drifting lazily in the stagnant air. Captain Ethan Carter, a human veteran of countless interstellar campaigns, moved cautiously between rusted cargo containers, his hand resting instinctively on the grip of his sidearm. He had seen war zones that spanned entire systems, alien species that could tear ships apart with a thought, and civilizations crumble under the weight of their own arrogance. Yet nothing had prepared him for the small, almost trivial scene that awaited him that morning. On the cracked pavement, a small metallic lunchbox lay abandoned, its surface scratched and dented. But it was the delicate stickers of unknown origin, faded and peeling, that drew Ethan's attention. Curiosity overcame caution. He knelt and lifted the lid. The lunchbox was empty, except for a small folded note, its edges scorched as if from some minor heat exposure. Ethan's veteran instincts shifted from caution to concern. He unfolded it carefully. The handwriting inside was tiny, precise, and unmistakably deliberate. "I only have a few bites left today. I will share them with you if you find me." The message was unsigned. But beside the note, something caught Ethan's eye. A tiny, almost imperceptible paw print in a silvery residue, like dust. He followed the faint trail through the abandoned port, every step stirring memories of missions he had long tried to forget. At the end of the trail, in the shadow of a derelict transport shuttle, sat an alien girl. Her skin shimmered faintly, an iridescent hue that changed as she shifted in the light. Her eyes, impossibly large and golden, watched Ethan cautiously. Her name, he would learn, was Lydia Voss, a survivor of a species displaced by the recent galactic conflicts. She clutched a second identical lunchbox to her chest. Ethan could see she had been crying. Streaks of silvery tears had dried along her cheeks. You left this?" he said softly, holding up the empty lunchbox. Lydia nodded. Her voice was melodic but fragile. I couldn't finish it. There's barely enough for me. I thought maybe you would want it too. You're human, right? Humans always help." Ethan's heart tightened. He had seen humans do terrible things, yes. But he had also seen the rare, extraordinary moments when humanity rose above cruelty and indifference. And here, in the most improbable corner of the galaxy, he saw it reflected in the eyes of this tiny alien girl. He kneeled a few feet away, careful not to startle her. "Tell me about it," he said. For a long time, Lydia only shook her head. Then, slowly, she opened the lunchbox she had kept hidden against her chest. Inside were a few pieces of nutrient paste, a small strip of dried protein, and a single iridescent seed. She extended it toward him with trembling fingers. This is all I have," she whispered. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. In the vast stretches of space, where he had seen entire planets laid to waste, where hunger and deprivation were ordinary, here was a child offering what little she had to a stranger. The simplicity of the gesture, the depth of the trust. It shattered something inside him. He took the seed with great care, examining it. "You know, back on Earth, we'd call this the most generous thing a person could do. Sharing the last bite. It's the most human thing." Lydia blinked. "Human? I thought humans were dangerous." "Sometimes we are," Ethan admitted. "But sometimes we're capable of things like this. You've just reminded me of that." Tears pricked his eyes as he glanced down at the tiny seed. It seemed insignificant, a trifle in a universe of stars and galaxies. Yet to Ethan, it symbolized something far greater, the indomitable spirit of life, the quiet, relentless courage that sometimes only a child could display. He sat down beside her, leaving his armored boots dusty on the floor. "Let's see if we can find you a proper meal," he said. But Lydia shook her head, hugging her lunchbox tighter. No, I wanted to share with you first. Please, keep it. Ethan swallowed hard. Memories of fallen comrades, of battles won and lost, of lives sacrificed for nothing more than survival, washed over him. And yet, in this tiny moment, he felt a profound sense of peace. Humanity had not been erased from the galaxy. In the eyes of a small alien girl, in a gesture so small it could easily have been overlooked, humanity's essence endured. He reached into his own satchel and pulled out a small packet of rations, offering it to her. She accepted with a tentative smile. Together they shared their meager meal, a simple act of connection that transcended species, war, and time. You know, Lydia, Ethan said after a long pause, I've fought a lot of battles. I've seen death and pain and despair, but this might be the bravest thing I've ever witnessed. Lydia's golden eyes shimmered. Brave? Yes, he said, smiling through the lump in his throat. Bravery isn't always about fighting monsters or winning wars. Sometimes, it's about offering the last bit of food you have, when the world says there's nothing left to give. For a long while, they sat in silence, two unlikely allies amid the ruins of a forgotten spaceport. And in that quiet, Ethan felt something rare, a warmth that had nothing to do with plasma shields or starlight, but with the simple, undeniable fact that life, even in its smallest forms, could remind a human veteran why he still fought. The sun rose higher, casting light through the broken skylight. Dust sparkled in the beams. Ethan knew that soon they would have to move, to leave the desolate port and find safety in a galaxy that was still dangerously unpredictable. But in that fleeting morning, in that shared lunchbox, he had found hope, and sometimes, he realized, hope was the most human weapon of all.